Hi everybody, my name is Cristen Casey. I'm here to talk to you about overnight group travel. So many of you may be considering taking groups of students off campus this fall, and that is a really worthwhile and important activity. So I'm here to talk to you about how to make that happen. So I'm going to start with introductions. My name is Cristen Casey. I'm the director of the Center for International Education here at Albion. I work with Mary Jones. That's the two of us in that picture. Mary is the admin secretary here, and our primary responsibilities at the college are to work with study abroad students and international students who are here for degrees, and also exchange or native speaker teaching assistants. The reason Matt asked me to speak to you today is because of a new policy that came out this spring, and it's around faculty staff led group travel. This applies to both the United States and domestic trips, but only to trips that are overnight. If you're doing a day trip, that is excluded. You do not need to cover any of the procedures in this discussion, but if you were going to bring a group of students overnight off campus, there are these steps that you need to take. The purpose of this is so that our processes are consistent, so that we know what we can count on from you. You know what you can count on from the college to make this as smooth and easy for you as possible, and to minimize risks for the college, for the students, and for you as faculty. So summer of 2021 and fall of 2021 travel. The college has decided that domestic travel will be allowed. International travel will not be allowed. There will be an announcement coming out from communications, but that is essentially what they're going to say. If you are interested in bringing students off campus internationally, there is an exception process. Several of our students who are studying abroad in the fall have gone through that process and been approved. So if you are interested in bringing a group internationally in the fall, please see me and we can talk about what might be possible. And if you're wanting to bring students overnight in the US, there shouldn't be any barrier to that. All right, real quickly, I want to give you some examples of past first-year seminars where they've brought students off campus overnight. We've had several trips to Hawaii, and I put the faculty names down at the bottom right for you, so if you wanted to reach out to someone who has done this before, done it very successfully, to talk about the highs and the lows of taking students on extended trips, these are some folks who can definitely tell you about that. All right, let's say you decide that you're interested in bringing your first year seminar off campus. What are the things you need to be doing now and in the future? So in a second, we'll talk about a timeline of now and then what you'll need to do as you get closer. But the first thing really to do is to plan and to consider whether this is something you are interested in and want to take on. The first thing, of course, to do is to choose your location and the activities. You want to make sure those are tied, obviously, to your course and to student success. These are some of the questions that we generally ask. I know you already have answered these questions for Matt as a part of your FYS course. You'll need to make sure that Matt knows what you're planning to get his approval for this or his okay for this. If you do need some extra support, for example, if you know you want to bring students to Alaska for a week, but you don't know anybody in Alaska, you haven't been to Alaska, you don't have contacts there, we do have partner providers that can help you with some of those logistics. So just contact me if you're interested in that. So this is an area where we're really trying to make things simpler for you so that it is not all on your shoulders to make these purchases and handle all the reservations. For those of you that have been doing this for a long time and want to keep doing it on your own, you can, but we do want you to have access to some support. So college vans are available for rental. You can basically check those out. There's a fee, but it's a pretty nominal fee. And there's a process that you have to follow. There's a link there, which I'm going to put at the end, and then Matt can provide you with those links. But there is a process to go through to get that college van rented. You also have to go through a driver's test, but honestly, it's very simple. I did this a couple of years ago, and they had me drive around Albion. I think they had me drive, on the highway for a couple of miles, just to make sure that I knew what I was doing, and then I got approval. So it's pretty straightforward. We also have a travel agent that works very seamlessly with the college. You may know Roxanne McCallum, but here's her contact information. I've worked with her to bring trips to Italy and France, and she does a lot of the arrangements for us. She also was very central when we had to bring our study abroad students home in spring of 2020 because of COVID. She basically did everything to make that possible. So she's a really good resource. We also are working on getting purchasing cards available to any of you who want to bring students off campus overnight, that you would have a college purchasing card. That would be used for plane reservations, hotel reservations, meals, emergencies. You would have basically this travel card with you. Kathy DeFazio is in the process of figuring out how that's going to work. She anticipates things will come out soon, but hopefully this will be a relief to you to know that you don't have to use your personal funds in case of emergency, and you don't have to worry about getting reimbursed. So again, I hope that's a good thing for you. All right, another thing just on budgeting and billing. So of course you have to identify what budget you have for this overnight trip. The way we design these trips is that you do have a budget from Matt for your class. You can apply that to an overnight. There may be additional funds that we're looking at, and I'll talk about that in a second. But your costs and the cost of the first year seminar mentor should not be borne by you or the mentor. Those should be factored into the costs that the FYS students are paying. Those charges to the first year seminar students can be billed through ACES and accounting. Amber Barber is the one who does that. You would just send her a list of student IDs, the amount, and the course number, and she will get that applied to their account. Now, in talking with financial aid and Cutler, we're worried that some students may not have access to these trips if they are low income or high need. So we are looking for ways to reduce those barriers. This doesn't mean that you want to create a trip that's super, super expensive, but we do want to make sure that students have access to going on the trip and that they're not excluded because of financial barriers. So there's more to come from that, and I'm hopeful that that's going to make a difference for our students. I think it will. Okay, so you want to go. What paperwork do you have to follow? What do you need to do? So the first thing you're going to want to do is by August 1st, submit the risk review travel form. On that form, what you need to be ready to list is who's going. So you're going to be the responsible college official, or RCO. A second employee, in your case this is going to be the first year seminar peer mentor. They're going to be the administrative coordinator. That person is basically, if something happens to you on the trip, they're going to step in and basically take care of the group. I know I've worked with people who, we had a faculty member, this will not happen to you, I know, but have a heart attack on a trip and actually had to be hospitalized. So if something terrible happened like that, the administrative coordinator would step in to make sure the group is safe. Proposed itinerary, so where you're going to go, when you're going to go. This, you don't need to provide details at this stage, but just generally what you're thinking. And then what kind of arrangements there will be for transportation, housing, and food. So basically, are you going to take a plane? Are you going to take a college van? Are you going to stay in an apartment? Are you going to stay in hotels? Are you going to stay on the beach in a tent? That's the kind of stuff you need at this stage. This is going to be automatically approved unless you're in a high-risk activity, in which case it'll kick to a team to make sure that our insurance will cover your trip and that we have enough support for you to go. All right, and so now you're going to fast forward to a couple of weeks, 2 to 4 weeks before you travel. You're going to submit the pre-departure checklist. By this point, you should have finalized your arrangements. You should know what flights you're going to be taking, where you're going to be staying. If you have a contract for any services, that has to get approved by Business Affairs. That should all be done at this point. You're going to provide the list of the students that are going, the final itinerary with locations and dates, and an emergency response plan. So an emergency response plan typically has local, hospitals. What is the closest hospital? How would you get there if you needed to get to the hospital if you don't have a van, for example? Is there public transportation? And then emergency phone numbers for you, for your first year seminar mentor as well. If you are planning to have accounting bill students for the trip charge, you're going to send a list to Ann Barber at this point. And then if you're bringing students internationally, you're also going to meet with me. I want to go over some key elements for international trips at that meeting and also get the list of students so that we can give them the health insurance, the international travel insurance, which is free to the students for international trips. Okay, next step is a week prior. There's going to be a travel authorization packet that the students need to complete. We're working right now with IT to get that developed, so it should be in place by August 1 is our target. So you'll get some information about that. Make sure students have all of the key details, and then follow the procedures for vans, purchasing car, and all those things. And then you go on your trip and you're on the ground. Say hello to Tori. Tori went to Machu Picchu last year. She was one of the students that had to get pulled in spring of 2020 because of COVID. But I like this picture. All right, so when you're on the ground, this is Lynette Gumbleton. She was also in Peru, but the previous year. So for risk and safety support, when you're on the ground, both you and your first year seminar peer mentor should have emergency information for your students, and also to know the campus safety emergency numbers. This is a 24/7 number that you can call in case of any major emergencies. So here are a list of some things that happen. This emergency line ends up with Ken Snyder. Ken basically coordinates our response. There's a team of people, depending on what kind of emergency it is, that jump in to support you on the ground. So if it's a disciplinary problem, you've lost a student and can't find them, for example, he'll know who to call. If it's a natural disaster, he will call the right people to get a group here in Albion to support you while you're there, and to make sure you've got everything you need from us. I'm going to be working on a guidebook this summer and hope to have that out early fall, so it would outline a lot of these procedures for you. Just know that's coming. All right, we are close to the end. The last thing I want to provide you are some resources. So here are some document links to the things that I mentioned, the policy itself, the motor pool reservation, so those are campus vans, how to submit third-party contracts. I will get this to Matt so he can get you these links. And then also some travel contacts. So I've mentioned all of these folks in this session, but here it is in one place. Please know that I am here for you. And I really want there's really a team here at Albion that are ready to support you in taking students off campus. We want you to take students for these off-campus experiences. It is really enriching for our students, especially those who haven't traveled much or who haven't had exposure to a lot of different places, either internationally or even in the US. It gives them just a lot of opportunity to kind of expand their thinking, and it really makes a difference for our students. So thank you for considering taking students off campus. Know that if you choose to do that, There are many people here who want to support you, who want to make it as easy as possible for you to do that, because we know that that's going to make a really big difference. Thank you for all you do. I hope you enjoy the rest of your training, and I hope to get a chance to talk to you and meet you in person sometime in the next, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Have a great day. Thank you.